Hello everybody, today I have something that's a bit different for you, which is a 1v1 in Polytopia. I'm playing against a random opponent. A lot of people have been requesting this lately, so I thought I'd give it a go. And as you can see, we're playing Polaris and find a village immediately, which is always very nice. Also using the ice to get a boost in movement speed. Now, we're playing on a decent sized map. Our opponent is Gingy. I am not sure of this player's skill, since this is of course a random match, and I'm not sure who they are. Playing Gingy in a 1v1 on Archipelago is an interesting choice. The obvious choice would be Kiku, because they're just the best on water and pretty much the best full stop. I mean, there's a debate to be had there, but... So we're playing with the pre-diplomacy patch, obviously, because diplomacy, don't believe you can play online with it. And unfortunately this new city we can't level up because we haven't got the right tech, and it doesn't have a high concentration of resources, which is what happens if you spawn in Gingy terrain. They don't tend to have a very high concentration of any one specific resource. But never mind, we can build another Mooney here potentially to expand out a bit southwards, because in the end we're not going to get very far in Archipelago with only a single island under our control. And I'm thinking there'll be a village to the southeast here as well. And then after that we'll probably get riding, some economic tech so that northern city isn't just a burden on our economy and it's actually producing things. And after that, probably polar warfare, because I could level this up with an outpost actually. Well, that's a difficult decision then, because if we get fishing now, then we'll have that tech for future, so I think I'll do that rather than the outpost, which would probably just clog our economy down in the long run a little bit. We don't really want to be leveling everything up with the more expensive outposts compared to the much cheaper fishing. So obviously freeze area. Probably build a second Mooney, but we do need an economy at some point. So fishing first, level up the top city. And always get workshop when you're in a situation like this. It's what are you going to explore? You really need to have a reason. Oh, it's my turn to pick the custom of gnomes. Okay, not very important right now. Let's see what my opponent has to offer. Yeah, Gingy is a bit of a strange choice of tribe, because they don't really start off with much in the way of economy. But if you like Gingy, I won't knock it. They're a decent tribe. And I will be talking about them more in my upcoming video on Gingy, obviously, the guide. Let's take workshop here as well, because I have no idea where my opponent is. We don't really have any of their villages we want to reveal or anything like that. I'm in first place, which is obviously very nice. You wouldn't really expect that with Polaris, but perhaps they've got off to a little bit of a slower start, because obviously they don't get that boost movement from the ice in the same way Polaris do. So often Gingy can have a little bit of a slower start as well, so we'll see. Oh, there they are, hello. Just freeze area over here to get to the ruin. This is probably high time to build a second Mooney and or just level up cities. Probably riding as well sometime in the future, because we need to expand fast across the ice. Battle sledges obviously being far too slow on land to really be justified. I'm a little bit concerned about potential attacks from things like knights. However, I think it's me who's creating the attack here, because this Mooney, at any time I can simply just freeze the water and then send all my units across via a land bridge, which would of course be a good strategy. But for that I need riding, and at least 2 riders, preferably 3. And I'm not even sure how much land they have next to their capital where I can even put my riders. Ideally I'd have chivalry as well. So this one goes to uncover a new village, which is very nice. I'm going to take probably the village before the ruin. I don't really have a principle for these things, I just do whichever I feel is better in the situation. And we can't level up the second city, so not without spending a lot on outposts. It's probably useful to get riding at this point. Could just level it up again. Obviously the star boost comes in useful for the economy. I wonder if we should build a unit or take riding. Okay, let's see if my opponent attacks. I don't think they will, because obviously this is quite a water heavy map. And typically Shinji don't really have much of a navy early on. If it was Kiku or Aquarion, I'd be worried now. And if it were Aquarion, I'd be significantly less worried, put it that way. And also for turn 0 tribes in general, they usually have a decent navy. Okay, so there's no land bridge on the side, which is what I was worried about. I'll probably leave this warrior hanging around here unless I forget, which I probably will. But leave him around there just to make sure nobody decides to attack me around the side. Again, I'm not sure how skilled this player is. They might be ready for a sudden sort of sneak attack on my capital or something. After this, we might take forestry, but I don't think it's necessary since we're going for chivalry, and this is the patch where obviously chopping down trees will give you quite a few stars. Oh, hello. There they are. Interesting. Well, the question now is how do we attack them, because I feel like with the upper hand we should be able to attack. Polar warfare now, or just the more solid riding, probably a better option. Get a couple of riders going, and after that we'll see what happens. I'm expecting an attack. I mean, they're undefended. Okay, no attack then. Obviously they're unaware probably, unless they have a very good explorer, that half of my army is just Moonies at this point. So I'm planning to expand away to the south and to the west as well, and cover a bit more land. I feel like honestly we can just go for an attack here straight away on their city over there, on the sort of eastern side of the map. Freeze with a Moonie, road boost one of my riders. We should be able to get in fairly quickly. Oh, swordsman. That is a very good option. Unfortunately, we don't really have any cities around here, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to expand south without Moonies working in pairs. We'll just have a look for Shinji's units. Oh, there they are. They're capturing a city. Well, we can always freeze them. And until then, we'll just chop every tree in our terrain. Obviously, there's no real use for them unless you're going for forestry. Might as well get chivalry before we start any kind of attack. It's a principle to always have a strong unit. We could potentially level up one of our cities to level 5, but we're some way off doing that right now. Okay, harvesting fish, very reasonable. I hope they realise they're about to get frozen. I mean, it's pretty much my only logical move from here, unless I go southeast. Neutral. They probably don't have the diplomacy patch, so obviously these don't have any in-game function. Threatening, yeah. Annoying. Yeah, basically just the default stuff for 1v1s. My opponent's taking their time a little bit. Okay, so now what? Definitely bringing the swordsman to the attack as well. Oh dear, I thought that would... For some reason in my mind I thought my Moonie was still back there, so I could still freeze that extra tile. We'll start attacking on their city just because don't see any reason why not. And for this Moonie we'll just freeze. It'll give our swordsman a good chance to get in on that city. And we'll freeze their unit obviously. I'd be very surprised if there isn't some kind of counter-initiative. Probably swordsman, given the Shinji, and they've already got mining, as you can see by the fact that there's a mine right there. Yep, there we go, swordsman. And they killed the Mooney. Well, that's given me a nice opportunity for a night chain here, of course. Can potentially take on 1, 2, and then maybe take the city. But I'll leave the rider and the swordsman to take the city, because I don't want to end my attack chain there. I want to keep going with my attack chain towards the southeast, where potentially I could get a lot more kills if they have a lot of units sitting around. And it's pretty common practice in 1v1s to actually have quite a lot of units, just for exploration, for fending off attacks, even if you're not one attacking yourself. Alright, well, so we start with the night chain. Don't damage the city, obviously, because we have more than enough firepower to take it already. Just explore it all around with the rider and so on. Actually sure where all their cities are, apart from to the southeast. They could potentially one-shot my rider, which isn't great. Might want to run away, to be honest, since I'm not really getting through that wall. I'm not entirely... Why can't I see the damage stats? I'm not entirely certain if swordsmen are capable of one-shotting Moonies. I don't think they are, but for some reason the damage number won't show up. Probably a bug associated with diplomacy. Can't think of any other reason why not, really. Well, could get another knight, that might be a good option. Then again, Garmies sound like a very good idea here. And we could potentially use 2 outposts to level up both cities. Although we're just one shy in the capital. Ow. I'm not entirely sure what my opponent's plan is here. Presumably they're trying to get giants. I can't see any other reason why they would be leveling things up with forges so much. Okay, so that's my turn. Well, as you take the city we besieged last turn, I don't see any reason why not, really. Freeze their city, we can probably take it with a knight or so. See about this. Obviously a rider attack first could soften it up a little bit. Yep, very nice. So the question now is, can they bring a strong unit over the mountain? A single unit on its own won't kill the rider pre-diplomacy even. But maybe 2 riders, or a rider that attacks and then moves back, since obviously they have the escape ability. Or you could have something like a swordsman plus an archer, but especially with Shinji, archery really isn't the most common route, so I don't predict that'll happen. Let's get population, because this is going to be a short game, I reckon, one way or another. Even my attack's going to succeed right now, or we're going to get rolled over and start losing. Probably I'll win at this rate, but you never know. So, really I don't want to be investing in border growth right now. I have the much more immediate option of taking population growth and then leveling everything up. So we can get the Garmy. It's a bit late to the party, turn 13, but no real issue. Polaris tend to be a bit slow. I was thinking of taking another knight. Yeah, why not? They're not the best against swordsmen, but again, this is pre-diplomacy, so they still have 15 health. Okay, so we'll probably take another city, and now that we have climbing, let's get a bit of vision. Okay, so here we have their capital, with the final boss, the giant. At least I assume it's the final boss. Well, obviously once you capture the capital, you win the game. But anyway, let's get a army up and going, since we need to rival their giant capacity. And potentially, we'll now just bring in our swordsman and knight, our rider. Could as well just take that city in the south, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference at this point. We're already thoroughly winning. So I'll just level up the city once. Keep putting an eye on the economy, of course. I have a monument in my pocket, so no reason not to use that, I suppose. And now the idea is just generally to keep moving towards their capital. This is the point where I would probably resign if I were playing Jinji. I don't think there's really an awful lot of chance left. They could have a secret weapon, you never know, but I think it wasn't the nicest spawn, to be honest. They were placed on a peninsula, a pretty narrow peninsula. I guess with the first turn they would probably have moved northwest and uncovered the city that we saw the borders of the first time. We met them, and then afterwards they wouldn't have had time to expand along the peninsula so much, because obviously we got there pretty quickly with our first or second Mooney rather. And then they just kept expanding south, which I suppose is reasonable. You've got to do that if you want to keep competitive with the economy. So they put the giant in a boat, which is an interesting choice. I think they don't realise we have vision on the boat, because otherwise I don't know why you put it there. Which is understandable, but we should be able to take this turn with knights. Again, pre-diplomacy knights, pretty strong. As indeed, I think they're still decent post-diplomacy, but obviously 15 health is quite something for a unit that's supposed to be a glass cannon. Any other tech we need? Probably. Let's take Smithery, I don't see why not. And we should win from here on, since there's nothing they can really do to prevent the siege. And then next turn we'll win the game. It's been pretty fun having a Polaris 1v1 for a change. I very rarely 1v1 as Polaris, because typically I'm trying to remain competitive, so I play my competitive main, which is Kiku. But it's a lot more fun to be playing a tribe you enjoy a lot more. I mean, Kiku's still fun, but Polaris is quite something, because you get that ability to freeze the ocean, which allows you to not only feel like you're terraforming things, which is fun, but also at the same time it allows you to have the pretty powerful late game army that's really quite fun to play with. So yeah, that's been the end of the game, and I'll just give it the final score now. Thank you for watching.